Arkle, what are you reading? Hi, Cheryl Arkle, what are you reading? Can everyone hear me? That's what I need to know. Dex, can everyone hear me? We've been having a few sound issues, but I think they're all sorted, and people at home will let me know if they can or can't hear me. Hello, Cheryl Arkle, what are you reading? Cheryl is in San Francisco. I'm still here. It's actually Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Welcome, everybody. I need to know what you're reading. And yes, everyone can hear me, which is fantastic. And everyone can see me, which is fantastic. Welcome to What Are You Reading? I'm still in San Francisco. As I said, it's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. I'm having a cup of tea, which I like to do in the evenings. That's why you haven't seen me do it Thursday at 2:00. It's an evening thing. Shall we start with our first book? What have we got? Let's see what our book of the week is. It is Come and Get It by Kylie Reid. Now, everybody will remember Kylie. Her first book, which really came out to such acclaim. There it is, Such a Fun Age. This is her new book. It's her second book, and it's called Come and Get It. And it's sharp, it's provocative, it's funny, and it takes a lens to our money-obsessed society in a tension-filled story. And it's about desire, consumption, and bad behavior. She's really topical, and you'll all remember with Such a Fun Age, it was about, if my memory serves me correctly, it was about her being a nanny, I think. Is that right? Somebody can check that for me out there. I know most of you would have read it. It was such a great book. Okay, so that's the new Kylie Reid. That's Book of the Week. That's out now. Cheryl Arkle in San Francisco, coming to you live. And what are you reading? Okay, we've got some comments. Tanya says hello. Hi, Tanya. Wynn. Hi, Wynn. Wynn is reading The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. Jill is about to start The Tilt by Chris Hammer, who we love. And Chris he's powering away with those stories. And every story seems to be better than the last, which is so fantastic. Lisa, hi, Lisa. Lisa is reading The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, and she's heading to the UK in April, so trying to read books set there and get in the mood. Do you know, I do that too. I try and read what everybody's reading here. I try and read things that, because I'm in the States, I try and read books that are set in the States. So, and that's often a nice thing to do, because we know even with fiction, place is such an important part of any book, and it's such a big character. Carolyn says hi. Carolyn's reading Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. Do you know, Carolyn, you were reading my mind, because that's the book that I want to read while I'm here. And you just mentioned it, because Anne is not in San Francisco. She's in Nashville, but we just love her. I think she's coming out for the Writers' Festival this year as well. Carolyn loved it, and now she wants to be permanently surrounded by cherry blossoms. Okay, I can't wait to read it. Carolyn's also reading The Game, A Portrait of Scott Morrison by Sean Kelly. I would like to say I shake my head in disbelief, but sadly it's all too believable. Oh, truly, I don't know if I could read that. You're a stronger person than I am, Carolyn, because I think he was a person that really let his country down, particularly at the end when he lied about everything. But anyway, let's not talk about politics. I'll get into trouble from Jane. I'm not going to talk about politics. Okay, all right. Sue says hi, and Jill says hi. I think I've been through those. Tracy, hi, Tracy. Tracy's reading A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. Tanya says hi. Jill is about, we've read that. Let me see. I've lost my spot. Julie. Hi, Julie. Julie says hi to me and the team. Julie's reading a book by, N. Glassy by Melissa Lukashenko, and loving it. Also halfway through Tipping Point by Dunica McKenzie. We love Dunica. We love Melissa. Melissa came into our office a couple of, maybe, was it last year or the year before? Anyway, she was great fun. wanted us to hide the Tim Tams. So we did hide the Tim Tams. And then as she came to leave, she wanted the Tim Tams. So, what can I say? They're Tim Tams. Dernica was in our office too. She's been there a couple of times actually, but she was there for that author lunch. She's a brilliant writer. She's writing some great crime fiction, and I reckon she's a person to watch. Her career is going to go like that, I reckon. So that's Julie. Tanya is reading Vendetta by Sarah Barry and listening to The Search Party by Hannah Ritchell. Oh, I love Hannah. She was in Sydney, I think, late last year, and came over to my place, and we had a really nice chat and a cuppa. And she's a person that I've loved for a very long time, which is wonderful, right? She's just really is a beautiful soul. Sharon is about to start Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. What else have we got? What's next on the list? We've got The Murder In by James Patterson and Candace Fox. Now, I don't know, this is just another fantastic book from those two authors. They're back for another gripping collaboration with this thrilling follow-up to the international bestseller, The Inn, which I'm sure many of you have read. But I feel Candace is much, much loved by Better Reading. She's much, much loved by me because for lots of reasons, but I think she was one of the first or second podcasts I ever recorded, but she's always been a great reader herself and a great supporter of other writers. But her collaboration, I mean, this is an amazing story with James Patterson. She was at an event with her publisher, Beverly Cousins, and she was at a James Patterson event. And she said to Bev, this is legend now, this is how the story is told. She said to Bev, oh, can you introduce me to James Patterson? I'd like to, say hi. And at that point, James Patterson was co-authoring books, most famously with Bill Clinton, but with other people. And Candace got it in her head that she was going to chat with him and convince him to co-author with her. And, Beverly introduced her. She went up. She's got such charm and charisma. Anyway, she absolutely loved him. He loved her. And now this is a collaboration, which is so fantastic. Great for both their careers, I think, particularly Candace's. She still writes standalone books, as you know, but this is something big. So that's out now, and it's called The Murder In. Okay, so there we go. I've always got a story to tell you. Amy is reading The Artist's Secret by Alexandra Joel. Cindy, hi. She's listening to the Rachel Johns book, Outback Sisters, and just finished Tangled Paths by Carolyn Corvin, and also Jojo Moyer's book, The Giver of Stars. Now, segue, Rachel Johns, we've spoken about her a couple of times. She's got a new book out. But you might want to know that Rachel and Jane are doing an In Conversation March the 6th. So it's going to be Jane, our very own Jane Tara, and Rachel Johns In Conversation March the 6th, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. So that's going to be very exciting, both for Jane and for Rachel. And thank you for that segue, Cindy. Okay, Rhonda is reading All the Golden Light by Siobhan O'Brien, which we talked about last week. Wendy is reading The Other Bridget, the Rachel Johns book that we talked about last week and the week before. And Rachel's going to talk to Jane Tara on the 6th of March, and they're going to be chatting about Jane's new book. Now, David Hart. Now, David's a familiar face. He lives in San Francisco. And David, hi David, they're reading Tom Lake by Anne Pratchett for book club selection. Now, I have been invited to go to that book club because I am here in San Francisco. However, I won't be able to go because I'll be in Mexico during that time. But otherwise, I would have loved to have attended. And I don't know, have you read it, David? Are you enjoying it, or are you saving your comments for book club? Faye, hi Faye. Faye is reading Taken by Dunica McKenzie. Sally is, hi Sally, she's about to start The Gift of Life by Josephine Moon. Karen is reading House of Now and Then by Jo Dixon. Lema is reading The Target by David Baldacci. Now, what else are we reading? This This is a brand new debut book. It's called Whenever You Are Ready. It's by Trish Bolton. Look at that wonderful cover. And it's a love letter to the lives of older women. Whenever you're ready, it's about moving. It's not about moving, it's moving. And perceptive novel about 3 women searching for a way forward in the wake of a sudden loss. So, as you get older, things happen. Friends start dying, people in the group start dying. In your friendship groups, and this looks at the friendship and the relationship of these 3 people, and one of them dies, and it's about that. So it's called Whenever You're Ready. It's really beautiful story. Let me know if you've read it and what you thought. Emma says hi to us and the Better Reading team. Thank you. Sue is reading the same book as last week. That's okay, and is in a real reading slump at the moment, hoping for some inspiration today. That's really interesting because that does happen. It certainly happened to me big time during COVID. I had a big reading slump. I was, I guess, preoccupied and, worried about everything. But let me know if you've had them, and let's, see if we can give Sue some tips on how to get out of that slump. Anyway, thank you for sharing that with us, Sue. I really appreciate it. Emma says, hi, Cheryl. We've read that. Coralie, hi, Coralie. Recently finished 2 Charlotte Nash books, Saving You and The Paris Wedding, on audio, and love them. Rita, The Chocolate Factory by Mary Lou Stevens. That is a favourite. We love Mary Lou, and we've been talking about that for a couple of weeks as well. Really interesting about audio. I'm in San Francisco, and since John Brown died, for some reason I'm walking less. I'm swimming more, but I'm walking less. So therefore, my audio consumption has dropped. So I'm listening to less books and listening to less podcasts. Because I didn't know this, but for the whole time that I was doing it, it was because I was walking. I was taking John Brown out in the morning, taking him out in the evening, and always was listening to something and then making a big walk of it. But now that I don't have a dog, and now that I'm in the city where it rains almost every day, what I'm trying to do is swim. So audio is, I'm not listening to that as much. Let me know if that happens to you as well. Or has that happened to you in your time? Okay, Jess is reading Red Dirt Home by Renee Black. Ross, hi Ross. Ross is currently reading 2034, a novel of the next world war by Ackerman. And yeah, well, I mean, I'm worried about world affairs at the moment. So Ross, I'm sure it's quite a frightening book. Emma says that slumps are the worst, and they are. Margaret says, hi, Cheryl and team. Thank you, Margaret. Finally reading Emboldened by Belinda Alexandra. Wow, I know. It's she's a really lovely writer, isn't it? And very personal. Really shocking and hilarious in parts. What amazing recollections. Fabulous life stories and history lessons, so important. Well, we love Belinda, and we're going to make sure she sees that. Jane, I think, make sure that Belinda sees that beautiful comment from Margaret. Teresa says, g'day to all of us, reading Break by Marion Keyes. Funny, real entertaining. She's always a good, easy read. She's such a fabulous person as well. Christine says, hi, Christine. Now, what else have we got? What are we reading? We've got The Beacon by P.A. Thomas. Here it is up on the screen. It's really entertaining. It's a murder mystery. It's set in Byron Bay with a difference. It's bursting with humor, local color, memorable characters, and seriously page-turning. So that's by P.A. Thomas, and that is out now. So we're reading that. Rachel Johns is on. Hey, Rachel, how are you? Don't forget, we've got an author event with Rachel and with Jane. And that's coming up March the 6th. There you can click on the link in comments where the details are. And Rachel, I don't know if I've thanked you for this, but now that you're there, thank you so much for mentioning my John Brown in your book. I really appreciate that. It's really a very, very generous gesture. Now, Rachel's reading Funny Story by Emily Henry. Yvonne is reading Eyes Line Mine by Salima Kamal. I think that's how it's pronounced, Lige. Meredith, their next book club is The Seven. Christine is reading Lola in the Mirror by Trent Dalton, and it's such a beautiful and heartbreaking novel. I mean, he's just so wonderful, isn't he? I think he's just such a beautiful storyteller. And I think, because he is, I don't know if he's still writing for The Australian, he might be, but, he writes beautiful journalism in a story, a nonfiction in a storytelling way. And I think that has just translated so beautifully to his fiction. But we all love Trent. Yvonne says, I won't join a book club because I read reviews, not to listen to what others, you read reviews and you don't want to listen to other people's thought. What do you gain from a book club? Okay, that's seriously interesting. Okay, mate, David Hart, if he's still there, he might be able to tell us. I'm not in a book club. I get invited to book clubs. Do you know sometimes the discussion I find quite interesting? Some people are in book clubs monthly and they could probably answer. Anybody want to answer that question? But to the ones that I've been to, I feel as though, and we've talked about this, reading is all about perspective and where you're coming at into that book. And I think even if 10 people read the same book, we're all getting something very different out of it. And I feel it's really interesting to understand what other people get from it. And, I guess the conversation about characters and what you thought and blah, blah, blah. But also, Yvonne, I'll let you in on a little secret. I think a lot of book clubs are also about food and are about wine, or maybe about baking and maybe about tea. Speaking of baking, I made a banana cake today, banana bread, but same thing. Anyway, there you go. So you could take a banana cake to a book club as well. I think it's social as well. Anyway, that's my view. Anybody else want to tell Yvonne what they get out of a book club? Rachel, yes. So sorry about John Brown. Joe Wright, The Murder Rule by Dervla McTiernan. We love Dervla, absolutely love her. She's got a new book coming. And we can't wait for that. Cheryl, great name, Cheryl. Cheryl is reading Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. It's really good. Last book was The Other Bridget. That's Rachel Johns' book, is The Other Bridget, and thoroughly enjoyed it. That's what you read last. And Rachel is with us. Oh, and Rachel didn't know that John Brown died. Well, he did. And that's why he'll be remembered forever in The Other Bridget. Coralie says she loves Dervla. We all love Dervla. Anna says Foul Play by Fiona McIntosh is what she's reading. She could write on the back of a serviette and it would be good. Yeah, that's right. Some people are just like that, aren't they? Joe Wright says it's my first. Alison, The Wartime Book Club by Kate Thompson is what she's reading. Jill said that The Beacon is on her TBR pile. Julie's back and said, I've started a book club that is super relaxed. And I think that's really important. I think you can't take it too seriously. 8 book-loving members who just come to talk about what we're reading and try to convince another person to read it. And, of course, it is about food and wine. I agree with that, Julie. And it's not even about convincing. It's more about sharing. I don't know, but your club might be about that. But really it's about sharing, I think. Kerry says, does anyone else find other voices while reading audio changes and how you may have taken up a voice if you read it instead? That is interesting as well, I think. I think with audio, once you get that voice in your head of that character, that doesn't change. I think that's what you're saying, Kerry. Tracy said she finds it interesting to hear other people's views on books. This is at book club. Sometimes they can help you to see things and themes that you might have missed. Absolutely. Or themes that, just weren't kind of relevant to you at that time. Just having my tea, because as you know, I'm in San Francisco and it's actually 7 p.m. Emma, agreed, Cheryl. I love hearing the different perspectives of opinions. It usually gives an insight into something I haven't thought of. That's what I get from it mainly. And the other thing I really get and I really enjoy is the wine, usually. Jay just finished The Other Bridget, which was excellent. And the lovely Rachel Johns is with us tonight. She's on board. Now, what else have I got? I've got to remind you of a few things. Oh, vote to win. Voting ends the 25th. So that is coming up, the 25th of February. 5 p.m. the 25th of February. If you haven't voted, jump onto betterreading.com.au. You've got to vote and you go into the draw. You could be a winner, a big winner. You go into the draw and you could win one of 7 packs of the entire top 100 books. Yep, one of 7 packs. Okay. All right. So Cheryl again, I'm still reading When Things Are Alive, They Hum by Hannah Bend, which is a nice book so far. I enjoyed Lessons in Chemistry recently. Yeah, that's a lovely book. I think she's coming to Australia this year at some point. Sharon is reading Jemima Puddle Duck. Okay, we love that. Lisa is, I've got a lot of books I wouldn't have chosen because of book club. That's the interesting perspective. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah. I mean, talking about books that you'd never heard of or knowing about books that you've never heard of. And that's what we do here. But, you want that to come from all sorts of places, I guess. So Lisa says, not all great, but it's great to branch out from your own shells. Of course, Lisa likes the wine too. So do I. Okay, Sally. Oh, you made banana bread. Hey, snap. Mine is out of the oven and I'm having a cup of tea, and when I get off here, I didn't think it was appropriate to be eating banana bread on this segment, but I am going to do that. Actually, I've got a question for all of you. This is actually, I'm going to ask a question now. Okay, I think I'm going to get into trouble today from people back in the office. Now, we're thinking of launching a cookbook podcast where I, because you all know that I love writing. I don't love writing. I love reading, but I also love cooking and I love baking and I love reading cookbooks. We've talked about this before. I've got my bedtime reading very often is a stack of cookbooks, which I read from front to back. And sometimes I may never open that cookbook again or make anything of it. But then other times I'm hooked on that cookbook and I just make everything from it or this or that or whatever. But, there are a lot of people that tell me out there that they don't use cookbooks. They just cook what they cook and they're great cooks. Whereas I'm a really big cookbook user and I often use a recipe, that's just the way I go. Now, once I've made the recipe, 4, 5, 6 times, then I won't need the recipe anymore. But usually I am a recipe person. My mother, she wasn't a recipe person. She could cook. She could eat something at a restaurant and come back and recreate it. And she didn't need a recipe. And all her life, she cooked us beautiful meals and never opened a cookbook. But anyway, that's not me. I didn't pick that up from her. I do need a cookbook. And we're thinking of starting this podcast. And then we're going to have a Facebook page where we talk about food. Now, we've got 2 titles that we're thinking of. So one is, what are you cooking? Or what are you reading? Oh, no, I'll do that again. What are you cooking or what are you eating? Because we have, what are you reading? Now, my question to you is, should we call it, what are you cooking or what are you eating? Let's do a straw poll and see what's happening out there. Let me know what you think. Okay, now I've got other things to talk about. What have I got? Oh, so we talked about Jane in conversation with Rachel. We've got Fiona Lowe coming up March the 13th. And drum roll, we've got Kathy Lett coming up on the 20th of March. All of these are Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Australian Standard Time. And also we've got Tom Keneally. We've got a podcast that we're pulling out, an older podcast that we're pulling out because we love Tom, but also Tom's going to be at the Manly Writers Festival. Now, if you want to go to a great writers festival, Manly is the place to be. Tim Ailiff's on the ticket. Tom Keneally's on the ticket. There's many more. Have a look at their website, 14th to 16th of March. Okay. All right. Now, listen, I'm going to go through a few more. Don't forget to tell me what you think. What are you eating or what are you cooking? Okay. So Sally and I, well, we both made banana bread. Have you eaten yours yet, Sally? Faye, another big thing that book clubs are great for is to broaden your reading experience. I have read many books, blah, 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 that I may not have picked up yourself. So that's exactly what Lisa was saying as well. I mean, it really is good for that. And also socially, I really feel the social element is really important for a lot of people as well. Judy is reading Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. What else we got? Kerry saying loves a good cuppa. Yeah, so a cup of tea for me is always in the evening. And I do like it. Now, and I drink black tea with milk and sometimes a bit of honey, but tonight there's no honey because I'm going to have some banana cake. So you can't double sugar up, right? Carolyn, what she likes about book clubs. What I like about a book club is that it makes you read books that you may not have chosen yourself, and it's amazing the gems that you find. As Cheryl said, it is also interesting to hear different perspectives on the book. I love being in a book club. Oh, good on you, Carol, and it's true. And I think, it's a social element for a lot of people as well. And also, like if you're doing a book a month or a book every 6 weeks, then you've got a program going on, you've got deadlines coming up. And I find those sorts of things give a really nice structure to your life. Charmaine is reading The Search Party by Hannah Ritchell. I've talked about Hannah. We love Hannah. Kathy recently read The House, and I can't say that, in Sarah Lane, I think that's pronounced, in Sarah Lane C by TJ Clune. Not my usual type of genre, but also loved it. Faye thinks, what are you cooking? Tracy says, what are you eating? Jill says, what are you eating? Lisa says, what are you cooking? Now, that's not helpful for me. If we get the both, all right, okay, we're going to have to tally that up, right? Because at the moment, it's one or the other. And that's not going to be helpful, because if we have, 10 of one and 10 of the other, how are we meant to choose? Christine says, brilliant idea. What are you eating? Are you asking me now, Christine? Because I'm going to be eating the banana bread that I just made and I'm having a cup of tea. But yeah, I just think that would be such nice conversation. Anyway, all right, look out for it. Julie reckons it should be, what are you cooking? Cooking podcast, yes, please. What are you cooking? I'm always cooking. Okay, all right. I'm thinking cooking might be the one. Cooking might have won. Anyway, great lineup of interviews. We're out of time. I mean, we just all talk so much. What am I going to say? I'm going to say thank you so much for joining us. Love this conversation. And I will see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Thank you for joining me. I'll go through and tally, or somebody will go through and tally whether it's cooking or eating, but look out for it because that's coming soon. Thank you so much, everybody, and see you next time.